Hello everyone, welcome to the Ceci Truman Live Show. This show will be starting in just a few moments, so stay tuned. And if you're seeing this on social media, please like, share, and follow. For more information, go to trumanforcongress.com. This show is brought to you by Ceci Truman. Here's Ceci.
Welcome everyone to the Ceci Truman Live Show. Today we will be discussing a very important topic, not only to Californians, but to the entire nation. And that has to do with our children and parental rights, parental notifications, and school transparency. The saying goes, so goes California, so goes the nation. And that's why it is so important that we have fighters here willing to do battle and be on the forefront. But you know what? We need you. We need the people. This government was set up not just for people to lead the charge in the front. We need parents, we need grandparents, we need aunties and uncles. We need the people to get behind the leaders who are going to Sacramento, who are going to Washington, D.C. to fight on behalf of our children. So we have today with us a fighter. Her name is Sonja Shaw. And in November of 2022, she was elected the president of the school board for Chino Hills, California. And let me tell you guys, this is a hot battle. It is the war of the words. And as George Orwell stated, that it is he who controls the narrative, controls the people. And that is what we are seeing here in California. So we're going to discuss a few items. One, very, very important. I want you to go to protectkidsca.com. Very important. We're going to talk about that throughout this episode because that is where you can download ballots. We are signing a ballot initiative to protect our children. We will explain more about it if you have not heard about it yet. And if you've heard about it and you haven't gone to the website, you need to do that today and do it now if you can.
She believes this is a fight for parents' rights, and she is not giving up.
The political cartel has continued to show their cards, and I think we just need to stand with our constitutional rights, and we need to make sure we protect our kids together.
But may put our students at risk because they may not be in homes where they can be safe.
Time. And I learned something from a previous board president. Guys, be respectful.
This is a hill that we're willing to die on. The political cartel's agenda is crumbling right before their eyes because it is not unconstitutional to put school board members to put policy in place to protect students. Yeah. Right now, you see that they're trying to continue to fight us, but we're only going to win.
Tony Thurmond, I appreciate you being here tremendously. But here's the problem. We're here because of people like you. You're in Sacramento proposing things that pervert children. You had a chance to come and talk to me, Tony. By all means, you had a chance to come talk to me. Why was it so important for you to walk with my opponent? You are the very reason why we're in this.
have been in the news. You're being sued by the state.
All these school boards with your California School Board Association and the unions have developed these policies to start keeping secrets and breaking up the family.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know you are getting a lot of attention right now. You're getting national attention, and you are just a regular mom of two, minding your own business, living life, a wife of a husband, and running your small business. And you know what? God called you for such a time as this. He called you because he knew you were going to step up to the plate. So share with us how you got started in running as a school board member in Chino Hills.
Absolutely. Because I think what's important to know, people think like some of us have been in politics our whole lives, which is absolutely incorrect. I had no clue what senators and assemblymen did. Neither did I really pay attention, which is why we're here, is because people like me weren't paying attention. But with that said, a lot of us just are living our life, providing for our children and raising families, or, people are in their careers. I cannot fault people for doing that. But now that it's gotten so bad, it's time for us, I want to say, normal day-to-day caring people to stand up and take a stand against what's going on, because the political cartel of what you just described is out to destroy families. And that is the truth. And like you said, whatever happens here goes the nation. And I've been traveling around the nation, and I know people don't even know that some of this is coming their way. It's just a matter of time. We are just one of the first to feel it, not the first, but one of the first to feel it. And honestly, during the shutdown, as hard as it was also a big blessing, because it uncovered a lot of things for some of us that did not know. It literally hit our living rooms, right? And we saw stuff, even if we didn't watch the news, it was still affecting our daily lives. We saw what was happening behind the scenes with children and in the classrooms. I do want to make a disclaimer. There's a lot of amazing teachers, and I love them. The unions are another story. And what the unions push is a whole different story than what teachers are. So I separate the both. But at the same token, I saw what was going on. I pulled my kids out. Me and my husband pulled our kids out. We put them in person at a charter that was focused on, learning and the sports that they loved, but not all kids were able to do that. And that's when I started hearing parents say this, that, the other. And we saw stuff was, maybe the kids were going to start going back, but it was with these and masks and this and that and the other. The whole world was going back to normal. Long story short, I was like, we got to do something. We got to protect these kids. Someone said, go to the school board meeting. And I'm like, what is the school board? I'm sorry. That's how bad it was. Right. Found out quickly. Once I went, I never missed a meeting as a mother from that point on. Started to see who was actually making the decisions. The majority of those people, it was wicked. More stuff was being exposed. And that's when we knew we had to change those seats. We started linking up with other people around California, because we saw other parent groups experiencing and fighting the same thing as us. And eventually it went from me leading a parent group to me being a candidate with God's perfect timing. I never set out to be a candidate, didn't even know what that was. We were up against a lot of money and a lot of power and a lot of connections. But if God wants you in there, he's going to put you in there and pave a way. And let's just say we switched our board majority from, it was a 2-3, and we switched it to a 4-1 in 2022, in which I became the president when I got elected, and I'm still the president, 2 years later. And we're hitting the pavement. We're fighting the good fight for our kids. And I have no intention on stopping the fight wherever God puts me and my family, and alongside my family. People need to start paying attention, though. That's the biggest thing, Ceci, is if we don't pay attention and we just ignore it, it's already slapping us in the face. It's already destroying families. Think about it. Local level is where it's at, but local level is where they are making laws to prohibit us from serving our communities right now, because they're upset that at the local level, we're pushing back at what the state and the political cartel are pushing in the schools and into our communities.
That's right. And I always have said, power is on the local level. Absolutely. And, praise God for your family, your husband and your children, you know, it's not just you alone. Your whole family is going through this together. And, you know, the attack on you all has been incredible. I've talked to you quite a few times in the past year and a half. And, you know, we pray for you, Sonja. And I know you have a lot of support from the California Research Council, from the Tony Perkins Family Research Council. And we have a wonderful pastor in Chino Hills as well. I love him, Pastor Jack Hibbs. And, you know, and a lot of prayer going out towards you and your family and the community. And so you guys are paving the pathway. And, you know, it's so encouraging what you said, because I too, you know, when 2020 happened, the shutdown happened, you know, I went out to rallies. You know, we didn't know what else to do except let's come together. You know, it brought people together that had a heart for our Constitution, that had a heart for our country. So we got to know one another through all of that. And but you know what, I realized in doing all of those rallies in Beverly Hills, Huntington Beach, Sacramento, I even went to Florida a few times. I realized, though, in all the masses of people, that until we, the people who love our country, love God, love family, until we step up to the plate and run for those seats, like you just said, nothing is going to change, because these people have no intention of listening to we the people. They are hell-bent on a Marxist, communist, demonic, very far left agenda. And my point in bringing this to the forefront and talking to you, Sonja, is to educate people out there. I talk to parents all the time. They have no earthly idea what is happening in the public school system in California. And that to me is frightening. We've got to get the word out. And parents, I'm talking to you. We have got to activate. The souls of our children are on the line. And I'm talking to the church. It is up to we the people, the church. And, you know, Sonja, I know you're familiar with this, the Black Robed Regimen. Now I'm going to talk to the pastors right now. The Black Robed Regiment were the pastors during the Revolutionary War, and they had the robes. They preached the gospel to the congregation, and then they took the robes off and they went into battle, physical battle with the militia, because, you know, and that birthed our nation. And, you know, I don't want us to get to the point where we're doing physical battle. We need to do battle not only on our knees before the Lord, who is the creator of all things, the heavens, the earth, the sky, the galaxies, plural. We need to also have feet to our faith. And if you think, parents, homeschool parents, even, I want to include you, grandparents, if you think that, you know, don't let the enemy make you feel like you are not capable of these things, because Sonja and I were everyday regular girls, and we decided, you know what, we're going to have the courage of Daniel. We're going to have the courage of those people that we read about in the scriptures, because this is our time. This is our time to step up to the plate. And yes, you can run for office, by the way, and pray and ask God, where would he place you? Whether it's, you know, supporting candidates or, you know, being part of election integrity, that's so important. We've got to have good elections, honest elections. So get involved with that, perhaps, or pray about running for office, school board, city council, board of supervisors, assembly. We need more assembly people. Like I said, we have a supermajority in California for assembly and Senate. It's like 80% far left Democrat. And by the way, Democrats, the party has left you. If you're a moderate Democrat, they are now communist. Okay, they are far left Marxists. So it's time for us to step up to the plate. Now, with all of that, I want to talk one more time. I mentioned protectkidsca.com. Sonja, can you expand more on what this is and how parents and grandparents can get involved?
Absolutely. So the time is limited now, so we need all hands on deck to collect as many signatures. And it's so important to get out there in these next week or two to collect as many as we can, because you've seen all the roadblocks being put against us. Now, it all goes back to Bill Selly's bill, right? And that was to just simply notify the parents if your child was identifying as a different sex. And then our district picked it up, and we wanted to put a support a letter of support, being that it affects, our school district and how it's ran. And we also knew, me as being newly elected, I knew we had a policy that actually quite did the opposite, right? It kept secrets. So with that said, we just wanted to simply do that. The bill died, but I think what was beautiful about it, it brought a lot of awareness, because a lot of parents did not know. And a lot of parents say, oh, that would never happen to my child. Well, that is absolutely incorrect, because they are pushing ideologies through the school system. That is the truth. And you have kids being approached by staff and teachers asking, do you want me to call you this or that, when it's none of their business. And that is true, because I hear the stories. I hear parents report these things to me. You can't make this up. So whether you believe it's going to happen to your kid, it's right there in your kid's easy access, which is not right. Kids are not dropped off at school to be learning other people's ideologies or push something on them. They're there to learn, and parents are dropping their kids off to learn. That is the reality of it. But with that said, we also see an attack on, women's rights. We see that a man can just say, a fully intact man, let's be real, can say, I want to be a female one day, and then go into the girls' sports, and it puts them in danger. It puts them at risk, and it takes away their opportunities. You just seen with the Title IX being passed. So this initiative would finally put it on the ballot and let the people decide.
Yeah.
This is what the political cartel is so afraid of, the people. If they weren't afraid, they wouldn't be trying to stop a bill that's, they don't want to expose where they stand on a lot of this, because they want us to be naive and blind about what they're doing. Number two, they don't want it on the ballot because they know that 84% of California voters, right, voters would vote in favor of this, according to all the recent polls. So you would protect sports, you would protect parental notification. Parents have a constitutional right, but apparently the state thinks that they could pick and choose what you have a right to know and what you have a right not to know. We know that with our own lawsuit. And it would also prevent the sterilization of children. We've seen these detransitioners, the pain that they're going through, and these are children. We have a moral obligation and a duty to protect these children. And it's absolutely vile that we're allowing children to make these decisions, and we're not standing up as adults to protect the kids. So it would put all of these things on the ballot once for all and solve it. But yet now you see them playing games, changing the name of the initiative. This morning, we saw Bonta gaslighting the public again, stating that Chino backed down from him. And no, we did not. We're going to continue in court. We know that the policy that we brought forward was it's lawful, and it was a constitutional right of parents. We're not backing down from that. He wants the public to think we backed down and that he won, but he didn't win. Parents will win, because we'll fight the good fight. Yes, we did bring forth another policy in the time being. And in general, because we listened to what the judge said, we're accomplishing the same thing. And now we're notifying parents of absolutely anything and everything on official and official. So good job, Bonta. You just pretty much gaslighted the public, because you just made our policy even stronger. And we're not backing down. So your little tweets, his little tweets, he took a jab at us school board members, and I'm over here. People are sending it to me this morning. I don't watch what he does. I don't need to watch what he does. But the very fact that he's watching every move of us, obviously we live rent free in his head. And I'm glad, because we're fighting a good fight. We're going to continue to link up. We're a force to be reckoned with when it comes to protecting our families. He picked the wrong fight. These are children. Whether you are on the red aisle, the blue aisle, or you are, progressive left or a right, whatever you want to call yourself, a Christian, non-Christian, the majority of people believe that children need to be protected, and this has no business in the schools. So that's where they're trying to divide us. And that's when we need to say, no, that's not true. We are not divided on this. We're united. They wouldn't be trying to stop this. They would just let it go to the ballot. If they really believed they would win, let it be voted on. Right? Why all the roadblocks? But apparently they know what we know, and they're trying everything they can. And then they're using and weaponizing our state assembly members and our state senators to prohibit local control. We've seen it over and over, right? And it's absolutely vile and disgusting, because these are constitutional rights, a lot of them, that they're actually violating. Enough is enough. Our state is going to a trash bin. We have crime up the roof. You have Newsom, Pelosi being assaulted, spit on. You have Karen Bass's home, the mayor of LA, who is, doing her thing over there. Her house is being broken into. You have the San Jose mayor. I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. His staff was being assaulted and security when he was trying to do an interview. You have all these people protecting this, and you have the land of lawlessness over here. You have beautiful police officers and sheriffs that can't even do their job. And they're over here questioning now. I've seen some interviews with some of the associations, and they're like, hold on a second. This is against the law. But guess what? They're tying their hands too.
Yep.
When is enough enough? At some point, we have to stand up. We have to say no. And it stops when we say no. If we continue to go on to our lives pretending like this isn't in our living room, we might as well kiss California, the beautiful state that we all raised, where most of us were raised and we're growing, we're raising our families in. Goodbye.
Right.
I mean, Ceci, the last threat to my life and my children's life was right before Easter. And they used the federal mail system to send this threat to my home. How many death threats is it going to take for people to realize they want your children? They want to break up your families. If they want my life, what does that mean? They want your children's lives. Let's not be stupid. I didn't do anything radical. All I said is parents need to be notified. We're going to get sexually explicit material out of schools.
Right.
And we're going to make sure classrooms are not politically and ideology charged. That's it. What did I do so radical? Think about it. I mean,
what they're guilty of, they want to label, and that's what they're masters at. They're masters at labeling and messaging. And, not only do they want to divide us as patriots, as conservatives, as people who are fighting on behalf of our children, but they want to divide families. They want to divide children from parents. And that I saw, when I studied World War II, Nazi Germany, that's exactly what happened. They separated children from parents. They put the moms to work. They took the picture of Jesus Christ down off the classroom walls and put Hitler's picture in its place. That's what their plan is here. And this is not, like I said, this is not only a physical, but this is a demonic spiritual battle that we are in. It's a battle against, light and darkness. And it's very crystal clear what side is the dark side. And that is the side who they have a stronghold on our children, and they don't want to let that grip go. And so it is up to us. We have to engage parents. We have to activate. And again, please pray about your role in this, because God has called you for such a time as this. And we need all of us to get involved. ProtectKidsCA.com. Go to that website. So I'm going to read to you some language. Attorney General Bonta. So our bill said it restricts the rights of restricts the rights of transgender. Okay, wait, I read that wrong. Protect Kids of California Act. Bonta changed it to restricts the rights of transgender youth initiative. Okay, so that's the gaslighting, the lying basically is what we're talking about. Okay, we had on our bill, female students should have fair and safe opportunities to compete. Bonta changed it to prohibits transgender female students from participating in female sports. Like you said, they're fully intact males. This is a loophole for people who are predators, who want to, why wouldn't a predator want to take advantage of such a loophole as to, wow, I can just say I'm in my mind, I feel emotionally like I'm a woman. Now I can go in the women's locker room and women's spaces. And, that's an endangerment to women. And so this is what we're talking about. The Attorney General Bonta, who has aspirations to be governor one day. Let me share with you all. Not only this is, we suspect that our Governor Newsom has aspirations to be president. So you know what? First they destroy major cities, and they're destroying the policies and laws in California. Now they want to do this to our whole entire country. People, it's time to please. We need to wake up. You need to spread the word, and we need to get involved because you know what? Like Sonja just said, things are happening behind the scenes, and they are trying to mask it. They're trying to hide it, their agenda. some of it is coming out in the open where, you know, just like we're seeing our students, our college students, high school students, they're going out into the streets pro-Hamas. They don't even know what a lot of them don't even know why they're out there. They're just being told, hey, you know, go stand for this, even though they don't know the history. They don't have a clue what's going on. But, you know, they're radicalizing our young people. And so that's why I'm so grateful for someone like Sonja Shaw stepping up to the plate and being so courageous and putting her family and herself, you know, their safety on the line. So what do you say about all this gaslighting and, you know, and they're trying to change the titles? You know, Attorney General Bonta, he has it's on his desk that he can change the title and the summary of a bill, even though we call it Protect Kids CA. You know, what do you say to that?
How do you not say that's not dictatorship? How do you not say that's not gaslighting? How do you not say that that's not misleading? How do you not say that's not a political cartel movement? I mean, you have to call it what it is. You have, you know, Newsom, who's on, honestly, he needs to stop his stealth campaign for presidency too, because he's enabling these people. He's part of the problem. Bonta is just another little, you know, leg for him. And to me, again, why aren't they allowing this to go to the ballot and let the people choose? If they really believed the people were on their side, they would let it. The only thing that's on their side is the supermajority in Sacramento, who are greatly responsible for what's going on. They are part of the problem. But that's the thing. When it comes to the people, they don't represent the people. But I will say this, Ceci, people need to start paying attention and vote these people out. Now, I know our system's hard to get people like me and Nick Wilsons and you and everybody else who has a heart to actually run for the community in which they serve. It's not set up to have us normal day-to-day people. Let's be real. It's really hard for us to be able to get in because we don't have the money, the union backings, and all those things that go with it. But what we can have is the people. And if people pay attention, we will win. Our families will win. If they don't, and they just allow these people to continue, then we're going to lose. So to me, Bonta can continue his gaslighting. I actually think it's a gift because every time he goes and does something like this, more people wake up. My phone goes off the hook. Is that for reals? Did that just happen? What is he saying? I can't believe this. I mean, we saw in what was it in Sacramento? Was it last week or maybe a week and a half ago at the most, when most parents, most community members, most grandparents did not even know it was a misdemeanor to sell and solicit sex of a minor. That should send chills out of everyone's back. These people are saying you get a slap on the hand, if that, for soliciting sex to a minor and buying. Like, what the heck have we done? At some point, we have to realize we're part of the problem if we continue to allow this. I'm not trying to be aggressive or rude, but we are. Because at some point, it is our fault for not paying attention. Now we're paying attention, wake up, and realize the children are being harmed. That is a road for trafficking. The men that are filtering in or actually not even filtered in right now through the borders are grown men from other countries. The trafficking of kids. My friend went down to the border to go see for himself. He saw children being picked up and crying and ripped out of the hands of their parents that are coming over here to have a better life. And these people are just taking their kids. This is not a joke. This is not a conspiracy. This is real life. We have a moral obligation to pay attention. We have a moral obligation to fight. Look, again, people wouldn't be fighting against us for simple things like notifying the parents. If it wasn't putting a wrench in the wheel. I always say the kids were on a fast-going freight train with Satan as the driver. And God threw something in the wheel and said, no, not on my watch. And we all know what Matthew 18:6 says, right? These people hurting children. It needs to stop, but we also need to pay attention and we need to be part of the solution. Part of the solution is supporting your fighters who are willing to put themselves and their families out there to fight the good fight, but we need people alongside them. You cannot leave the people once they get into office either to fight the good fight alone. We have to pay attention. We have to expose what's going on in Sacramento because these things are scary. They're gross. You see the campuses. These parents are paying $85,000 in some of these colleges to have anti-Semitism thrown down their children's mouths. And then you have these young now adults. I saw an interview yesterday. They didn't even know why they were there. She's asking her friend, why are we here protesting? And they're yelling and chanting from the, the sea. And that's death. That is death. And you have these people chanting it, hating America, calling death to America. Where did we allow this to happen? And when are we going to say no more? Like,
it's dangerous.
It is dangerous. It's dangerous for families. And if people think it's only in California, no, absolutely not. It's not only in California. It's just, obviously that's where a lot of this stuff is seeded, and then it grows and spreads like, cockroaches all over the place.
That's true. And what is that saying? Evil prevails when good people do nothing. Let me repeat that. Evil prevails when you good people do nothing. So God's calling you. If you're hearing this, God is calling you to do something. And even if it's something you in your mind think is minor, it's not minor. Do not let the enemy make you think that, because there are 13.5 church-going people in California, and 50% of them are registered to vote. 50% are registered to vote. 25%
million or 13.5? Because you said 13.5. I didn't know if it was what
million.
Percent.
Sorry. Yes, 13.5 million.
I just want to make sure. I'm like, there's more than 13.5 of us.
Oh, yeah. So my point is that we've got numbers on our side, but so 50% are registered to vote. 25% of them go to vote in the generals, November, right? 10% go to vote in the primaries, which we just had. So that's not enough. We have the numbers on our side. We just need people to go. And we cannot be armchair referees. We do not have that luxury any longer to complain about things. You have to get involved. And you know what? It's midnight hour for America. And if we think, living our life, that it's not going to come knocking at our front door, we are very misguided. And, if not for yourself, do it for your children, do it for your grandchildren. And you know what? This can be a family thing. I would implore people to go to school board meetings, go together, but it's once a month. It's a small thing to ask. Go to your school board meeting. So really quick, I know you have to get going, Sonja. What is the lawsuit that is happening currently? Can you explain that to the people so they understand what is going on?
Yeah. So we're obviously being sued because we said we wanted parents to be notified. We never prohibited anybody from doing anything. We just said parents have a right to know. So obviously Bonta's putting all of our taxpayer dollars to sue school districts, a few of school districts around California right now that adopted the same policy. And they're saying that they don't want parents to know, and they're claiming all this other stuff that it is when it isn't. They're gaslighting again. But technically what happened was that in the first, our first court date, you saw our judge ruled a preliminary injunction prohibiting us from notifying parents. We already had notifications going out prior to the injunction, so we know that the notification works, right? And then you also see Temecula, though, that judge decided there was no preliminary injunction as they continued their lawsuit. So you see same policy, but different judgments in different parts of California, which I think should give people hope, right? So with that said, we continued with the lawsuit. And then what happened was the judge said, we had three parts of our notification policy. But he said, this one and this one's good. This one is quote unquote discriminatory on the face, which we know it's not, because we put this in place because we had a previous policy that kept secrets in just regards to this, right? So it can't be discriminatory if you are enacting a policy that gets rid of or rescinds a previous policy keeping secrets. So who really was discriminatory was the people putting those other policies in place to keep secrets only in regards to these kinds of things for parents, which we know parents have a constitutional right in everything in the upbringing of their children unless they're deemed unfit. So why is it that we're fighting against the state to pick and choose where we have a right, right? So with that said, we continued on with the lawsuit. We did go back to the drawing board with what the judge said, And we accomplished notifying the parents of everything across the board. And we updated our policy with new language. And I think it was more like a checkmate. They don't know what to do with it. So that's why I think you kind of see him gaslighting the public that we rescinded. We didn't rescind anything. We actually notified the parents of any official or unofficial record changes across the board. But he knows now with this, he's not even going to be able to do anything. So he's pretending that he is winning when he's not. Parents are winning. So I want people to pay attention. We're not giving up. We didn't throw in the towel. We're not going to throw in the towel. We're going to continue to fight the good fight to protect our children and our families and make sure parents have their constitutional rights exercised. And we're not going to give into the bullying tactics. So as it stands right now, yesterday they filed the motion to continue the lawsuit on us, right? But we're going to continue to fight and protect ourselves and protect our community. So regardless of what's happening, it's really up to the courts. But I can tell you right now, we have no intention of backing down. We're not going to back down, and we haven't backed down. I do know we have 3 seats up in our area. You have, this election year, and the CTA has now partnered with local unions. We've seen it with Madison Minor and Rick, they're the thing in orange and the recall. So we know we don't work hard as a community. They're coming after people like us that are throwing a wrench into the wheel and saying enough is enough. Our kids are failing at reading, writing, and math, Ceci, but yet we're focused on all these things. Like, let's go back to letting our school districts educate. I can say personally for our district, we have the majority of admin and even our superintendent and teachers that do an amazing job. Even with everything put on their shoulders, we are increasing our test scores. It's hard. They have a challenge because of everything that's being pushed down, but they're still excelling. And there is other school districts around California that are doing the same. But if we don't fix it, their hands are going to be tied. And then these are going to be complete indoctrination camps. They are. Let's just call it what it is. Community schools, pay attention. But with that said, we're going to continue with that. In the meantime, we need all hands on deck to go to protectkidsca.com to make sure they're helping collect signatures. We can get it on the ballot, guys. But if we don't work together, we don't have big money like they do. So it's not like we can go pay signature collections like all these other people do. We need people, normal day-to-day people, just spend a little bit time, collect your neighborhood signatures. People will side with you if they know the truth. This is common sense. We've lost common sense in our state as a majority, but we can bring it back. The thing is, our kids need to learn how to read, write, and do math.
Yes.
Enough is enough. Like, we don't need them learning about all this other junk.
I believe this is a national security threat. I'm running for a federal office. And, if we don't have good math skills, we're graduating our kids performing 48 out of 50 states. We are graduating kids without proper reading, writing, and math skills. And other countries, I'll use China, for example, their 5th graders are already learning calculus. And our kids in our country don't know the difference between a man and a woman because they're confusing our kids so much. If we don't have excellent math skills, who's going to run our technology for our military? And so that's a concern to me running federally. And, what we're doing also is creating a special class where, they want to create the transgender movement and the transgender ideology. I mean, these kids go to school not to learn a social agenda, but they should be going to learn, like you said, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Let's learn reading, writing, and math, right?
Yep.
And so anyhow, what we've got in California is a total chaos. We've got lawlessness and, felonies being reduced to misdemeanor crimes, closing half the prisons. And, we've just got chaos on the streets. And this is the agenda in Sacramento. When we send our kids to Rome, don't be surprised when they come back Romans. So it's up to you to be very involved, know what your kids are reading in school, be active, go to the school board meetings, and support candidates like Sonja Shaw and others that are fighting for your rights, your parental rights, and fighting for our children so that they can be free from this sexual perverted agenda being inflicted on our little ones, starting in kindergarten. And we didn't even talk about the perverted books that are in the school libraries either.
Yeah, no, and we'll probably have to do another show on that. But I just think we need to stand united, pay attention, fight the good fight. Everybody has a gift. It doesn't mean that you have to run for office. It might mean that you're good at social media, you're good at making flyers, you're good at knocking and walking and talking to people.
Yes.
Everybody has a gift. Your gift can be used. We need to use it to protect our families and children. Otherwise, what's the point? You might as well just hand your children over to them. And at this point, I don't think the majority of us are obviously willing to do that. So let's use our gifts. Let's not let them divide us. Let's focus on our families. Let's make sure the political cartel does not have any more power than it already has to ruin things. Let's get those people like you, the Nick Wilsons and, you know, the Gibsons and all these other people that love their country. They love their state into office. So we have a fighting chance. Let's support those in there that are fighting the good fight. I mean, we have some great assemblymen and senators, but their hands are tied.
Right.
They need help. They need us. Get to the polls. You said the numbers out loud. That makes me so sad because I know that's what's happening. But yet we as a majority don't even make 10 minutes available. Guys, they made it so easy for you. As much as I don't like mail-in ballots, you can mail it in, track your ballot. This whole idea of we're not going to win, so I'm not going to vote, then you're part of the problem.
Yes.
Look, churches like ours are teaching other churches to ballot. Well, like their political arms. Like Real Impact is teaching other churches to do the same thing. Ballot harvesting will be illegal when we beat them at their own game. You get common sense back. We just got to beat them at their own game. And we can do that. We're smart. We have heart. We have purpose. We have real purpose, protecting our families, protecting children. Their purpose is evil and demonic, and they will not win. So when we stand up and we say, oh my gosh, this is a Goliath, just remember who God is. Because I know those moments you get vulnerable. I know those moments get hard. Trust me, I am human. Every arrow that's thrown at me, I feel it. My family feels it. My husband is at the point where he's like, my family, what am I supposed to do? They keep threatening us, right? But at the same token, we can do something if we do it together.
Yes.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate what people are doing, but we need more. We need more of us to fight the good fight together. It does not mean that you have to sacrifice your entire life, but what you're doing is allowing them to sacrifice your children and family if we don't stand up. And that's a scary thought. So at some point we need to say no. This election coming up in November, I think everybody needs to get their walking shoes or their phones ready to either do phone calls. And if you're able to walk, do the walking and knocking. That's how we won here in Chino Valley. That's how communities are winning. We don't have the money, but we have the heart. We can't beat them at their own game if we just do it together.
Sonja, how can the people find you and support you and get behind you and also find people in their own communities that they can get behind that are like Chino Hills?
So first of all, just attend a couple of your local meetings. Attend, your city council meetings. Make sure those people love your community and they're not part of them because what they are doing. You see these organizations like Act Blue and everybody and all these organizations that train these people to go into communities like ours to try to change them. Pay attention. Go to your school board meetings. See what these people are voting for. Ask them questions. You'll quickly find out like we did. Right. And then once you pay attention, you'll see who's fighting the good fight. You're going to see who's consistently standing up. With me, I have social media on Instagram. You're more than welcome to follow me on there. But I would just say, make sure you're paying attention locally, because when we all pay attention locally, that's when we win the state. That's when we win the state. And if you have a great community, keep it that way, because I can tell you, just like in our own community, there was a plan to overtake it, just like how they did, with their 4-year term of their majority on school board, wrecking it, right? And once we pay attention, once we make sure we support the people that are doing the good job, and we're there daily, not daily, but you know what I'm saying? We're there to support them.
Yes.
I think that's when change happens. So for me, I'm not too worried about people following me on social media, but you're more than welcome to, because we have a lot of people that go on there to connect. I think connections are important, right? I know connecting even around the nation is important, because you see this happening in other states. And once you have more people that are day-to-day people like us, realizing this more and more, because we're using our voices, we're fighting the good fight. I'm telling you, we can win this. It's simple. We just need people to wake up and not pretend that it's not there. Once you know stuff, Ceci, you can't unknow. I can't just throw my hands up in the air and go to sleep and pretend like I don't know. Being in my position, I know more now that makes me fight harder, that like your day-to-day people don't know. I see the heart and soul in these teachers and these admins that want to do so good. And I see what roadblocks they have. And I'm like, no, enough. So we just need to pay attention to local. Once we pay attention to local, we'll win the state. We'll win the state.
And if you're homeschooling your kids, you know what? I tell people homeschool is a viable option. I homeschooled 15 years, graduating all three of my sons, but you still need to go and fight for the other kids that do not have a voice. You got to link arms with your community, because if we lose this generation, we are done as a country, and it's happening so incredibly fast. You can find Sonja on Instagram, Sonja, Sonja Shaw, SHAW 2026, and follow her. We're going to also put some links, family, or it's California Family Council or Research Council.
Family Council, and then the California Family Council, member the protectkidsca.com. That's so important. Please, because look at, regardless of their roadblocks, what we're doing as a whole, as a community, as a state, is we're raising awareness. People did not know, right? And now they're having the opportunity to know. So regardless of what happens, we're going to continue to fight. And the great thing is people are getting out there, they're spreading the word. So these things are important. Also go to organizations like Real Impact, because they lay things out. They follow the bad bills. They put action calls that are easy for you to be able to respond to. Calling, writing your elected officials. Guess what? They don't like the spotlight on them. By you calling their office and emailing, they don't like that. They got away with it with us not knowing for so long. And now they're freaking out because we know, and we're putting the spotlight on them. We're getting things done as a state, as we link together, because of great organizations that are putting their heart and soul to give the resources to us that we had no clue of, right? So I would go to organizations like that, make sure that you're paying attention. You have, other organizations that are great. Take Back the Classroom is great at exposing all the wicked sexual books in there. You have California Policy Center. You have so many great organizations that you can be following that will give you the tools to fight the good fight. Look, there's trainings. There's trainings that, normal day-to-day parents like us can go to, and they'll let you know how these things work and how you can pay attention and how you can respond to your local elected officials, how you can write letters. Do those things. Some of them are online. It doesn't take a lot of time to actually, be able to pay attention and be part of the solution.
Right. And, if people do these things, they're going to set a trend for their friends and their family. It's going to ignite them, their family members, to also want to get involved. And that is realimpact.us on Instagram, by the way. We'll put all those links that you mentioned in the description. So Sonja, thank you so much for joining us. You are an amazing woman. And again, I pray for God's protection. You are the daughter of the King of all kings, and he's going to bless you, because you are unafraid and you trust in him. And so, Lord, continue to expand her territory. And you know what? We're going to continue to fight, like you said. The battle belongs to God, and so we will just give him glory when we win those victories. So anyway, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This was so important. And we will continue to talk about parental rights, parental notifications, and we're going to continue to expose what is being done in the darkness and being inflicted on our children. So anyway, God bless you. God bless America. But most of all, God save America. Thank you for joining.